This morning, growing concern over hundreds of these mysterious drone sightings in the Northeast.
That is not an airplane.
Videos on social media showing drones described as much larger and faster than those typically used by hobbyists, hovering over parts of New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania in recent days. Some spotted over a U.S. military facility, over reservoirs, and over President-elect Trump's golf club and summer home. The FBI is investigating, but so far, no answers.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy.
So back in 2020, the Pentagon released multiple UAP videos to the public. However, there really wasn't much hype around it, given that this was the height of the pandemic. We're not sure if these were released back then to distract us, but it's clear that it didn't work. Fast forward to 2024, and we're now seeing drones being flying over some very specific areas, one of which is the golf club of President-elect Donald Trump in New Jersey. And as usual, the FBI is completely clueless as to who's manning these drones. It's kind of weird how they can locate where things came from, but they found Luigi Mangione at a random McDonald's in less than a week. But getting back on topic here, what are these drones doing? And more importantly, where did they actually come from? Republican Representative Jeff Van Drew, he says that he's got reliable information that says that these drones came from another country.
The Republican Jersey lawmaker claims the drones are linked to an Iranian ship off the Jersey shore.
Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America.
So Van Drew thinks it's Iran, a country that doesn't necessarily like us very much. However, he didn't provide very much evidence to back his claim, which kind of begs the question, do we not have the technology available to track these drones? And how did they make it all the way from Iran to here without being like tracked or like refueling or whatever? They just like crossed our borders and nobody noticed. Now, I'm pretty sure if these are man-made drones, they can't stay up in the sky forever. And if there's a mothership out there, why hasn't the federal government sent a ship to check it out? I want you to also realize that these drones are supposedly as big as an SUV, and yet somehow the FBI is unable to provide any information about them. Now remember that our taxpayer dollars keep these people in office. Maybe this is why Kash Patel is on his way in. They're supposed to be the go-to place for information, aren't they?
Sir, the FBI and our Newark field office, along with the state and local partners there, the Bureau is actively investigating the situation you mentioned, just the unexplained sighting of drone activity over that part of New Jersey, including proximity to sensitive sites and areas of concern. So we do not attribute that to an individual or a group yet. We're investigating, but I don't have an answer of who's responsible for that, of one or more people that are responsible for those drone flights. But we're actively investigating. What the Bureau has done to aid our state and local partners is what we generally do, enlist the help of the interagency, enlist the help of the public. There's a tip line there, that 1-800-CALL-FBI, tips.fbi, for information from the public that could help us resolve this.
Now, just to make this clear, the budget for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, next year is slated at more than $11 billion. And they're using our taxpayer money to set up a tip line so that we can provide them with information about these drones. Something about that setup just doesn't seem fair to the American taxpayer. And do any of you guys believe that the FBI doesn't know anything about these drones? Or is this a situation of them knowing what these drones are and not informing the general public? Now, let's talk about the Pentagon and what they had to say about this. Watch.
Sabrina, can you tell me what the Pentagon is doing to address this issue of drone sightings over New Jersey? It's near sensitive installations. The FBI is involved. What is the Pentagon doing?
Sure. So at this time, aware of those drone sightings that have been reported, at this time we have no evidence that these activities are coming from a foreign entity or the work of an adversary. We're going to continue to monitor what is happening, but at no point were our installations threatened when this activity was occurring. These are not U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
Representative Jeff Van Drew, who is a Republican from New Jersey, was just on the air saying that Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones, and that mothership is off the coast of the east coast of the United States. Is there any truth to that?
There is not any truth to that. There is no Iranian ship off the coast of the United States, and there's no so-called mothership launching drones towards the United States.
Now, what is peculiar is that local law enforcement is being told to investigate SUV-sized drones in the sky. Really? Local law enforcement beat cops? It's also pretty surprising to hear the Pentagon say that this isn't a threat when it literally flew over President-elect Donald Trump's golf club. Now, we all have to address that the go-to reasoning for some of these politicians is Iran. Does that give this current administration the go-ahead to just go ahead and bomb them? For President Biden to go ahead and wage war against Iran as Trump is about to take office? Now, others say that it's a clear false flag event to justify attacking Iran as soon as possible, meaning that these drones may have come from the U.S. government. Can they be trusted? Remember that Chinese spy balloon that was shot out of the sky? These are dozens of drones flying over New Jersey.
Around on several different websites here. We're checking with the Associated Press. We're checking Twitter on several different official. Oh, I believe it just happened there. That was it. Live, raw, and unfiltered. It appears that China spy balloon has now been shot down over the Atlantic Ocean. You are taking a live look here, live, raw, and unfiltered, as that balloon appears to be heading downward after it has been shot down.
The lack of urgency to confirm where these drones came from, this tells us that they already know something that we don't. Some senators are saying that it's time to shoot them out of the sky. Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal says that intelligence analysis should be done urgently. How many of you guys agree with Richard Blumenthal? Now, apart from taking these drones out, his reasoning is because they're flying over airports and military bases, something that could ultimately affect our national security. Do you agree with him?
As you know, Senator, there isn't a vacancy at the top of the FBI. What should become of Christopher Wray, appointed by President Trump?
Well, I think he'll make a choice. I think either he will resign or President Trump will fire him.
I've always said Wray should resign, long before he answered that question in the Judiciary Committee yesterday. Look, if Christopher Wray is head of the FBI and he was telling the truth that he didn't notice anything wrong with Joe Biden, then he's not much of an investigator, and he shouldn't be leading our chief investigative agency in America.
This morning, President-elect Trump is getting ready to replace FBI Director Christopher Wray. Trump appointed him back in 2017, but has since criticized his leadership after the department investigated Trump over the past few years. A source says he is now planning for the possibility that he will be replaced, whether he is fired or simply asked to leave.
The deep state is in deep you-know-what. The corruption within our government is slowly but surely making exit plans before President-elect Donald Trump takes the White House back. And one of those people who's preparing a hasty retreat is FBI Director Christopher Wray. Reports are now coming out that Christopher Wray, he's preparing to resign from his post. Sources within the Bureau says that he's leaning towards leaving of his own accord rather than being fired by Trump. So Christopher Wray was originally hired by the former president for the job, but has since grown dissatisfied of his service. Now, it's kind of hard to blame the president-elect here, since many say that Christopher Wray targeted him in recent years.
Are you going to fire the current FBI Director, Christopher Wray, who you appointed?
Well, I can't say I'm thrilled with him. He invaded my home. I'm suing the country over it. He invaded Mar-a-Lago. I'm very unhappy with the things he's done. And crime is at an all-time high. Migrants are pouring into the country that are from prisons and from mental institutions.
And just to add to that raid at Mar-a-Lago, Christopher Wray included the possibility of using deadly force if necessary.
There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter.
The order, according to a court filing, contained a policy statement regarding the use of deadly force, which stated, for example, law enforcement officers of the DOJ may use deadly force when necessary. According to the filing, the DOJ and FBI agents plan to bring standard issue weapons, ammo, handcuffs, and medium and large-sized bolt cutters. But they were also instructed, according to the filing, to wear unmarked polo or collared shirts and to keep law enforcement equipment concealed.
Now remember, they were supposed to just be retrieving confidential government files. Now I'm pretty sure that paper can't fight back. You might get a paper cut if you're unlucky, but that's about the worst of it. Christopher Wray is also being considered to be a part of a specific list of people that might get a preemptive pardon from President Biden. Democrats and media supporters believe that the FBI director deserves it. Although White House lawyers are also studying the situation at the moment, as providing pardons would project an admission of guilt. One source from the Bureau confirms that Christopher Wray will be gone either on or before Trump's inauguration. Now, the Washington Times is reporting that following Christopher Wray's departure, Deputy Director Paul Abate will become acting director. Mr. Abate's original plans were to stay until May, maybe even June, so that he could help with the transition to a new FBI director. Kash Patel, the person who's at the top of the list right now to take Christopher Wray's job, has met with Republican senators, and so far, most of them think that he's ready for the task. Watch.
President-elect Trump's pick for FBI Director Kash Patel on Capitol Hill, getting praise from a key Republican.
I'm certainly inclined to support him. We talked about the importance of restoring the reputation of the FBI as a nonpartisan law enforcement investigative agency.
Patel is a former federal prosecutor and national security official, but critics have slammed his call to go after those he said unfairly targeted Mr. Trump. NBC's Ryan Nobles asking him today.
Have you told President Trump that the FBI will remain independent?
In his book, Patel writing about 60 people he says are part of the, quote, deep state. We pressed President-elect Trump in our exclusive interview. Do you want Kash Patel to launch investigations into people on that list?
No, I mean, he's going to do what he thinks is right.
The FBI on its end denies weaponizing the Bureau. In a statement that they released, they said this: the FBI has repeatedly demonstrated our commitment to responding to congressional oversight and being transparent with the American people. Director Wray and Deputy Director Abate have taken strong actions toward achieving accountability. The problem, though, is that not many within the Republican Party have been very happy with Christopher Wray's performance, one of which was Senator Chuck Grassley. Concerns that he raised with Kash Patel just recently. Watch.
I got the impression from him that there are things that I've proven over the last 8, maybe 10 years that's wrong with the FBI. Not answering our questions, letters, not appearing before committees when they're asked to appear before the committees. And a lot of things that, if you will look at a letter I sent to Wray today, that this nominee thinks that those things are wrong. They violate my responsibility of congressional oversight, and he wants to make sure that congressional oversight works, and that's all I approached him with.
So Grassley has already made his thoughts about Christopher Wray very public. In an 11-page letter, he wrote that the FBI director has had many widespread failures, adding that for the good of the country, it's time for you and your deputy to move on to the next chapter in your lives. Basically, go ahead and get the hell out. So it's becoming abundantly clear that the cleanup is already underway. So this is something that's going to be happening whether the deep state likes it or not. Now, what's really funny is that Christopher Wray has been at his job for years, but yet doesn't quite understand what the deep state stands for.
So, Director Wray, I'm going to ask you, is there a deep state at the FBI?
Congressman, I've never completely understood the term deep state. What I can tell you is that we have 37,000 men and women working in field offices all over the country and in legat offices all over the world. And they are people of character, of courage, of principle, of selflessness, and of patriotism. And that's the FBI that I see.
For a guy that's supposed to be the head of the FBI, he's not very good with intelligence and information. And his answer here sounds like it came straight out of something like ChatGPT. But the fact remains that he's on his way out. And it's possible that investigations will be done once Kash Patel is confirmed to take his job. Do you guys support Patel doing investigations against alleged corrupt officials within our government? Now, speaking of which, the CEO shooter incident in New York, it just got a stunning update. They've now charged the suspect who they think is the only guy capable of pulling this thing off. Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you know, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. I mean, but this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I mean, I'm now at a point where, you know, like, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. Now, shifting gears just a little bit here, guys, many critics claim that authorities have the wrong man when it comes to the recent New York CEO shooting. The suspect, Luigi Mangione, is the prime suspect for the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. His lawyer, though, argues that there's nothing here that makes his client guilty. Interesting, huh? Now, I covered this in a previous video, guys. You got to check that out after this one. This story is getting crazier about a minute. Now, as always, appreciate you guys hitting the like button and subscribing. Check out these videos coming up here next, and we'll see you guys on the next one.